Ready. Welcome to episode 3 of Beyond the Barracks podcast. I'm Charlie Skinner, joined with Griffin Stevens.
What up?
Today we're going to be talking a little bit about kind of mental health and discipline post the military and, you know, kind of the struggles that we've seen getting out and how to, you know, keep your mind right and stay on the right path too. So
It's all about mindset, dude.
yeah, I grind 365.
Dude, you gotta ask yourself every day you wake up, who's gonna carry the boats?
I'm gonna fucking carry the boats. But before
before I forget, I saw this fucking ad on Instagram the other day that was a like alpha dad church that they just do push-ups and they have this like ancient like Czech war chant.
That's sick, dude.
I was like, I've never wanted a terrorist attack to happen more than when I saw that video.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. I love how people have monopolized the military mindset, dude. Like,
I've been saying we need to start our own like basic training for dudes who never went into the military and just spray them with hoses and yell at them. You could,
dude,
charge
that's not
10,000.
what basic training is at all. But like, people are like, yeah, dude, like,
yeah.
Like all the Navy SEALs that have like retired and they just started that exact same thing, and they charge like $10,000 for someone to come for a week just to get you. I'm like, y'all are doing it right.
I'd be willing to commit stolen valor to do that and say I'm a Navy SEAL. I'll go on record right now.
Just start your own Reddit page. Fucking NSW warrior. Fucking.
I'm Army SEAL. We're different.
Yeah, y'all haven't heard of us because you know, we're quite professionals.
Dude, we don't talk about it. We don't get movies. We don't write books.
Yeah,
we can't even read.
Yeah. So before we go into that, I've got this week's Homier Scrub. So this one is a Army private who tried to start World War III in 1968. All right.
Okay.
An Army private stationed in Korea got drunk, stole a Jeep, and drove across the DMZ into North Korea thinking he could single-handedly defeat communism.
Yo. Already liking this guy.
Quickly captured.
By North Koreans or
by North Koreans.
Since 500 years hard labor.
Yeah. Allegedly, he defected to like support the North Koreans and then changed his mind, and then like I guess they probably fucking beat his ass and like got him to say a bunch of anti-American or anti-South Korean stuff. But he ended up coming back and he got court-martialed by the military for it and ended up getting a dishonorable discharge.
I'm gonna say, and this is against what I would typically say, I'm gonna say this guy's a scrub.
Okay.
Because I just know if I was in his unit, that next morning you are getting fucking destroyed, dude.
Dude,
where's Smith? It's like, oh fuck.
The health and welfare the next day, dude. Like,
yeah, I would get caught with some contraband and get in fucking trouble because this dude wanted to defeat communism. Like, all right, bro.
Bro, we had one health and welfare where I'd just gone to Kentucky. And
this is a brag. Was I there?
You might have been.
I think so.
Yeah. I had a bunch of moonshine in my closet.
Everyone, dude, that was the funniest thing, being in formation, and everyone was nervous because it's like, what do you have? What do you have? I had a fucking gun. Like
who? Dude, I had. It was your squad leader. I won't.
Yeah.
But he came into my room.
Wait, SSG or?
Yeah. No, not at the time.
Okay, never mind. His name is SSG. Think about it. I'm fucking.
You're confusing me. Okay. Shoo. Way over my head. But no, he came in, going through my stuff. He finds it. He starts to cause a deal. Your platoon sergeant.
Oh, Reed?
Yeah, comes in. He's like,
such a dope dude.
Whatever, dude. Like, fucking leave that. Like, that's not why we're here. Like, whatever.
He's so cool. Yeah.
And so it was like 3 cases of moonshine that just fucking. They were like, whatever. Dude.
You're saying Sergeant T. So you're talking about that dude sucked.
He came in. Yeah.
I liked him after the fact.
I almost
want to dox him.
As a private, I didn't, because he got after us. But
come to find out, he was like the biggest retarded private.
Really?
Yeah, apparently.
Damn,
I heard
hate
that
to
from
see it.
like over 10 sources.
Hate to see it, but yeah, I got luckily a chill person. Do you remember the flashbang that went off? I think that was the reason for that.
That was.
Yeah, and then in the middle of all that health and welfare, like, people were just chilling in their barracks rooms, and someone had another one, and they pulled the pin on it, thinking it was a dud, and dropped it in the middle of their dumbness. But
I had some shit in my room too, and I like had to like do a little fucking monkey dance so they would look at it. Thankfully, I'd hidden it like pretty well, but I was like, God, I almost got like Article 15 for sure.
I remember Jock. You remember Jock? Yeah. He had the Georgia flag in his room, and it's got a Confederate flag in it, and he got shit for that.
Yeah.
And, like, they're like, it's a state flag. Like,
the Georgia flag had the Confederate flag in it?
Allegedly, unless I'm making that up on the spot. But
I don't understand.
The story I remember.
Okay, not to be.
Let me fact check.
I'm from the South. I don't understand why you have the Confederate flag, dude. That was the enemy. Why do they still have the Confederate flag?
Like, well, it wasn't the enemy in the South.
Yeah, but
okay, I'm making.
We
this
got
up.
we got
There's
defeated.
No Confederate flag in this.
Jock was just racist.
Oh no, there was. There was.
Yeah, it was like that in Mississippi had the Confederate flag.
2003, it was changed.
Damn, dude.
So Chuck had the. Okay, now I get why.
Yeah.
He was,
Yeah.
Okay, he's not even a Confederate dude. Like, he just is a good old Georgia boy.
Yeah. I will say I don't condone what they did, but the Confederate flag is cool.
Cool looking.
Cool looking.
Okay.
I don't agree with what it represents.
Okay.
We might need to cut that.
Yeah, we'll cut that right out. No, we'll leave it in.
Let me get canceled. It's like the Instagram.
Yeah. Dude, I can't believe it. Didn't even surprise me when I came over, and like, we still haven't gotten that fixed. But
we'll figure it out. I might need to make a new Instagram.
Yeah, we'll probably overlap this with whatever our new Instagram is.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right, so let's dive into it today. So kind of talking discipline and stuff, post-military, mental health, like, because I know, speaking from my experience getting out of the Army, I lasted 6 months before I was going through a divorce.
Yeah.
And gonna say probably I'll take most of the blame for that one too.
Right.
Dude, I was like in the mindset of like, oh, no one's telling me what to do, all this stuff. And, you know, I'm married at the time too. And
right.
Kind of taking that a little too far too. Not that my divorce was messy at all or anything.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I think mindset is tough. You get stuck in that spot of knowing like, okay, I don't have that accountability. I don't have, because in the military, it's nice, you know,
right.
You get told where to be, what uniform to be in, what time.
Right. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, this was happened for me, but I'm curious if it happened to you. Like, when you get out of the military, you're like, this is the first time I don't have, like, in a while that I don't have, like, responsibility. I'm going to give myself a grace period of not being, I'm going to stay up past my bedtime. I'm going to fucking, not do PT. I
don't have to get up for PT in the morning.
Exactly. So, but there's no deadline on that either. So that, a lot of people, that just continues to, that's just their life now.
Yeah.
So they get out and they just are like doing whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it took a wake up call for me, I'll say.
Was it the divorce for you, or was it just?
No, it should have been. It definitely should have been. But no, I think I got worse post-divorce. I
mean, that's fair, though. I mean,
like,
shit, you go through a divorce after the military.
Yeah. I mean, luckily it was like not super ugly. Like, we kind of worked everything out without lawyers and everything and just like handled it.
That's good. So
I was very fortunate in that. And like, it wasn't super ugly by any means. I mean, it as not ugly as that could be. But I think after that, I really fucking was like, well, now I'm single, fucking like, let me fuck up my life as much as possible.
Yeah.
And so, dude, I was going out to the bars every night. not in a good way, like not like going having a couple beers. Like I was going fucking going to blackout every single night at the bars, and not working out, neglecting work. Like I had the sickest job, like are still doing the job, but like, you know, it's a very easy job if you're doing the right thing. And I went from doing the right thing, crushing it when I first started, to then fucking there was a plummet in my production and everything. Right. And so really took that on the chin. But, dude, it took a serious wake-up call. Like,
what would you say the wake-up call was?
I would say my lowest point where I kind of like remember it pretty clearly. I was had just paid my rent. And that was all the money in my bank account.
Yeah.
And that was on the first of the month. I was working a commission-only job, had no income coming in the rest of the month. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, dude. I was scrambling around my apartment trying to find credit cards like that I could use. Yeah. And, it was not pretty. Definitely some mistakes, but it was kind of like I remember fucking like sitting down and being like just actually looking at how deep of a hole I was in.
Right.
And that kind of wake up call was like, dude, I can't put shit on a credit card.
Right.
Like I can't just keep digging. And I ended up calling my mom that day and like just fucking told her the situation I was in. Right. Now my parents are not the type to like, they're not in a position to bail me out of something like that. So like my mom was like, dude, you fucked up. And I was like, yeah.
Probably the best advice you could have got.
No, 100%. She was like, you fucked up. You got to change what you're doing. Like you cannot keep doing what you're doing. You're going to fucking, you're going to go till you can't go no more. And like I was in a dark place mentally, not doing well. And it fucking sucked to hear. But like that was kind of the turning moment where I was like, you know what? I need to get my shit together.
Right.
Like, I mean, I'm pretty religious too, so not to go down that rabbit hole, but it was crazy to me how as soon as I kind of flipped my mindset, the opportunities started to show up.
Right. In what way would you say you flipped your mindset? Like, where were you at, and where would you say you got to? Yeah,
so I was in the mindset of I have to appear like I have my shit together.
Like fake it till you make it?
Yeah. Okay. That was my biggest thing, getting out of the military, getting into the job I was in, selling mortgages, right? I was of the mindset, fake it till I make. I'm going to talk to this client as if my first client I ever had. I'm going to talk to them like I've done this a million times.
Right.
Great advice for anyone getting into that kind of job. It worked. It definitely did. But that carried over into everything in my life, right? Like, I'm going to pretend like I'm a fucking millionaire and I'm going to live the life of like, I'm going out to the 5-star restaurants every week. Right. Like, and I was doing that and I was putting it all on credit cards. It was all fake. Like, not a bit of it was accurate. And so the kind of flip in mindset came when I really hit that bottom, looked at everything, realized the hole I had dug for myself, and kind of realized I needed to get out of it. And so that took a lot of being honest with people and telling them like, look, dude, I can't go out this weekend, can't go to this restaurant, can't do this. I'm got to focus on me. And
what would you say your first steps were to like climbing out of that hole? Like what advice would you give to someone else who's like in that situation? Yeah,
I would say take an honest opinion or an honest like kind of snapshot of where you're at. Look at your bank account. Honestly, like look at your credit card statements. Give yourself that full picture of where you're at.
Create like a budget.
Yeah, create a budget. Look at, okay, what do you have coming in? What do you have going out? Where can you cut and that's where I started. I started cutting expenses, subscriptions, fucking like how can I lower my monthly You know, in the mortgage industry, we use it all the time of your monthly debt obligation.
Right.
How can I lower mine to where I'm paying as little as possible? And calling credit card companies that, you know, I had payments that were $1,000 a month plus, like 4 credit cards. And it really took calling them and be like, hey, a lot of credit card companies have pretty good programs for if you get into that position.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't know that. You want to talk about that? Like, just like the credit card company will work with you.
Yeah, so I called them up. It was the American Express Platinum card.
Sick.
Which, like, everyone, so.
Anyone has it.
No, I was going to say anyone in the military gets the annual fee waive. So, like, my buddy in the Jock, actually, who we were talking about earlier, he put me onto it, and it's got dope perks and stuff, but that's how they fucking get you. And so I racked this fucker up, dude. It's metal, silver card. Like, you drop it on the table, it clinks. You feel like the fucking man, dude.
I remember when I saw the forewarning of this, because I remember we were going surfing one day, and you're like, I just got this new credit card, like credit limit $10,000, and you're like, it's a free $10,000. And I was like, in my head, I was like, I don't think so, but I also don't have a credit card, so I'm not sure if that's true or not. But
no, dude, I used to joke around while I was in the Army that credit cards were free money. I would joke around with like rules, because someone early on in the military like went through like their rules for me, and so like I took a spin off on that and was like, I'm gonna make my own rules, and they were just the dumbest thing ever. One of them being credit cards are free money.
Hell yeah.
They are not. I learned the hard way.
They'll get you.
Yeah, and it took a lot of, you know, self-reflection of like why. So I getting out of the military, you know, I had stuff that I was struggling with, you know, and I think just that change in lifestyle of going from knowing where to be, what uniform to be in at what time, to you're on your own, figure it out. That kind of messed with me some. You know, and I, like most things, I have to learn the hard way. And so, you know, I'm very thankful for it, because when I made that switch, I kind of took a look at my whole situation. Like, not just my bank account where I'm at that moment, but like everything. Put it all together into one snapshot and was like, okay, this is how much I owe. This is where I'm at. This is how much I'm bringing in each month. And this is what I can do to bring in more money. Right. And it took me turning that switch and kind of switching my mindset from like, I'm going to live like I've made it, to I'm going to focus on digging myself out of this. Right. And every effort, everything I was doing in life was to get myself out of that hole. Right. And it sucks. Like, it absolutely sucks.
How long, if you don't mind me asking, how long did it take? Like, how long has it been?
So
just to give someone, like, you don't have to say how much money or anything like that, but like realistic.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. I was very fortunate to be in a job where I can make more money the more effort I put in. Right. So for those of you that don't know, I'm a mortgage lender, which is sales. And so I'm a big advocate of sales for me personally, because I always love that mindset of, okay, if I need to make more money, I put in more effort. I reach out to more people that may want to buy a house. The more houses I sell, the more money I make. Yeah. And so, but it's very hard to motivate yourself to do so when you're in a hole. Yeah. And it took me probably 2 years.
2 years.
Of being frugal, of saying no, starting to say no to the people you're hanging out with, stuff like that. Yeah. Like, and it's hard. It's not easy. It's humbling, because everyone wants to be that fucking guy that, you know, is like, oh yeah, I got this, don't worry. Yeah, it was not fun. But it took some time, and I learned a lot from it. I would say, you know, budgeting, how important budgeting is. It got me listening to podcasts on financial health and like how to keep your finances in order.
What are some tips that you learned from those podcasts, and if you want to shout them out too?
Yeah, so big one, I don't think it needs my shout out. Rich Habits podcast. If you're struggling to kind of understand investing and like having your money work for you and stuff and setting a financial future, like getting on that path to growing your financial future, definitely Rich Habits podcast. Some others, Dave Ramsey.
That's a big one.
Yeah, he's
people always say it's like, oh, it's not realistic. It's like, that motherfucker will get you out of debt.
No, and he is realistic. It's just people's expectations of how they live
Exactly.
are not realistic.
They don't want to be real with themselves.
Yeah, and it took, like saying no to people is hard. Like,
yeah.
Especially your homies when you're like, you're used to going out all the time. You're used to like eating at nice places, doing stuff and like having fun and all that.
Yeah.
And you realize how much money you're spending. Dude, I would go to the bars and pay $500 a night. Like,
holy shit.
Just buying drinks for people, buying rounds of shots, like buying people dinner just because we were out and stuff. And like, yeah, dude, I was the fucking sucker in that situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we were having a great time and life was good, but dude, it was not sustainable.
Yeah.
But that led to a lot of fucking struggles, dude. Like,
yeah,
my mental health, dude, like, it's easy to look back and be like, oh, yeah, I flipped the switch. But, like, flipping that switch was not easy. Like, I was...
like, getting out of that, flipping that switch to, like, get into a mindset.
Getting out of that mindset and not... You feel like a failure, right?
Sure,
like,
yeah.
When you realize your full situation of where you're at and you realize you've messed up, it's hard to have that confidence in yourself to be like, you know what, I'm going to get myself out of this.
Yeah.
And that was something I struggled with for a while. So, getting that confidence back of like, you know what, I fucked up. I used to be something that I kind of learned was talking in the past tense about stuff, right? So if I want to change something, my spending habits, for example, I'll think of it as, okay, I used to have a spending problem.
Right.
I'm working on it and I'm getting better at it, is what I tell myself in my head.
So it's like affirmations.
Kind of reaffirming that like, okay, and it's how you look at it in your own mind, right? So if I look at it and I say, man, I have a spending problem, it got out of control and I'm just fucked. Like, my self-confidence down here.
Right.
Like, how hard is it to pick yourself up from down there when you can kind of rephrase it to, I used to have a spending problem, but I'm working on it. I'm getting I'm in a better place this month than I was last month.
That's so true. I mean, like, one thing I see across a lot of different podcasts on and like information, media information stuff, it's like how you talk to yourself and what you think is who you are. Yeah. You have to be very careful about that. Like, the more you think negative, the more negative you're going to bring into your life. Whether, it's basic if you want to think of it as like just psychology, or like, the energy you're putting out in the universe and the energy the universe is putting back in. So that's a huge point. Yeah,
and dude, it is not something I'm proud of by any means that I let it get as bad as it did. But I can now say at this point where I'm through the woods of it, I'm doing very well for myself now. I'm, on the right track and like making better decisions.
Yeah.
I can look back and say, you know what, that fucking sucked, but I'm so thankful that happened.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it takes learning lessons the hard way for it to set in and truly learn. But
yeah.
Could have very easily been just after I got the first credit card bill and be like, oh, all right, slow it the fuck down, Joe. Like, that's all I had to be. But,
I mean, it won't stick unless you go through some suffering. I always feel like, dude, any kind of growth in life is always as a result of suffering and adversity. Yeah, and lesson learned, though. And
girlfriend now, Bev, she's fucking amazing. Like, she is one of the most financially responsible people ever.
Yeah, because she bought a house, like, pretty good.
Yeah. When she was 24, she bought her house.
It's crazy. House hacking.
Yeah, she's renting a room out, and, yeah, she's killing it. So,
yeah.
But she's fucking, she's amazing because she's very supportive and everything. Like, dude, I've been so honest with her with every part of my life, and she's been nothing but supportive.
That's awesome.
And that definitely helps. And I think that's kind of ties into a point here, too, of, like, it was embarrassing, to say the least.
Sure.
Like, it was embarrassing to...
Is it embarrassing because you felt like you were a failure, or is it embarrassing for another reason, or...
I would say it's embarrassing because you feel like a failure, and you don't want everyone to know that you fucked up.
Right.
Like, you don't want...
Financial insecurity is a very real thing.
Dude, and, like, you don't want people to think you're broke or you can't, you know, like, or that you're struggling. Like, I don't know if it's just as a dude or just as a human. Like, you don't want people to know you've got this issue going on.
Right.
And I was embarrassed to tell people about it. And, like, it took a lot for me to tell my mom and get to that point. And then I kind of realized, all right, let me talk to some other people, dude. And be more open about it and, you know, talk about it. And that goes into, like, mental health stuff, too. Like,
I know it was helpful for... When you were telling me about that stuff, it was helpful for me to hear because I went through something somewhat similar, and for me, it was more of like I was a broke college student, had some credit card debt that I just couldn't pay off, and I was just like, felt like I was drowning. But in, like, hearing you go through, I'm like, okay, like, there is a way out of this.
Yeah. Yeah, and it helps a ton, dude. Like, I struggle with anxiety too, just getting out of the military. Like, I think that's something you hit 25 and it just hits you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is, but like, just being anxious for no reason. And like, the more I've talked to people about it, the more I realize everyone feels that way.
Everyone's anxious.
Dude, like, I know I've talked to you about it a ton, and I'll be like, dude, I was feeling it. And you're like, yeah, dude, I feel that way too. And then it almost helps knowing, like,
you're not the only one struggling. Yeah, no, that's like a thing in psychology, is like knowing that other people are going through what you're going through, and it's like alleviates some of that pressure that you put on yourself.
Yeah, and like, I feel like I didn't have to hide from it too.
Yeah,
like, I could own the fact, okay, I fucked up, and I think owning the fact that I fucked up helped me get out of it.
Did you go to therapy, and, like, did you talk about this? Did you go to therapy?
Yeah, so
And did you talk about your financial stuff with your therapist, or?
Yeah, so I used the VA benefits, the healthcare benefits and stuff. You know, it wasn't just financial stuff at this time. Like, I was, you know, in a dark place just from not making the right decisions across the board, not being the best person I could be, and just not making the right decisions.
Right.
And
that stuff seeps into all aspects of your life.
Dude,
it's very normal.
It does. And I was not proud of who I was by any means.
Yeah.
And that is something hard to swallow. Yeah. And so I was in a pretty rough spot and decided, you know what, I need to talk to someone. Like, thankfully, I feel like the stigma has kind of switched a bit, and it is becoming more and more popular to, you know, like, actually talk about it and actually, you know, face this stuff and handle it. And so I found some resources online for how to get with the VA about this stuff, and it worked out. I got connected to the VA, talked to someone there, and then I got a referral for outside care, and so got connected with a therapist. She was a fucking thug, dude. Like, I could tell her anything, dude, and she was like, not judging me, just like, oh, that fucking sucks, dude. Let's talk about it. All right, what are you doing differently? You know, and she helped. Just having someone that is not judging me but being real with me was, like, the most important thing.
So she was Because I know some therapists, they just listen to you talk, and then other therapists kind of give you feedback. She was one of the ones that gives you feedback.
Yeah, she definitely gave me feedback, which I think I needed. Like,
right.
I needed to be able to say, well, this is my thought process. Okay, so I'm here. This is where I want to be. This is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And she would poke holes in that. And she'd be like, well, did you think about this? Like, well, what are you going to do with this in the meantime? Or what about this? And, like, just everything. And then, relationship stuff, dude. Like, being single and, like, making terrible decisions, not being the best dude ever.
Right.
And, like, she would be real with me. And, like, it took me hitting my lows to kind of realize, too, like, in all aspects of life, financial, relationship-wise, friendship-wise, like, if you know when you're not making the right decisions.
Right.
You know when you're cutting corners. You know when you're not treating someone right. You know when you're fucking up. And if you do the right thing, no matter how hard it may be, you have nothing to stress about.
Right.
Like, if you make those hard decisions and, like, do the hard thing that is the right thing, if you do the right thing every time, you don't have anything that's going to come up and bite you.
That's very true.
And that was a hard lesson learned for sure.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's true. Because, like, you hear of, like, people talk about Kobe a lot. He was good at that. It was like people would always ask him, like, how are you so clutch? And, like, how do you not get nervous for these big games? Like, how do you perform in the moment? He's like, there's so much, like, repetition and experience I've had that he's like, I know I'm prepared for this moment. And, like, granted, that's at the highest level in the NBA, but, like, you can apply that same logic to, like, what you're doing in your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Like, even something as simple as, like, I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, but, like, making your bed, you know what I mean? Like, even something as simple as that, like, that will, like, it adds up. Like, having dishes. Like, I have dishes in the dishwasher right now. I'm thinking about that in the back of my head. I'm like, I need to do dishes today.
Yeah.
But it's true, man. It's true.
And that mindset shift of, like, okay, every single scenario looking at and be like, okay, what is the right decision here?
Yeah.
Everyone knows you don't need someone to tell you what the right decision is. Sometimes you need someone to wake you up that you're not
making the right decision.
Exactly. But you know what the right decision is. It could be fucking, okay, I have $200 in my bank account that needs to last me till Friday. Do I need to order Uber Eats and get Chipotle tonight?
Yeah.
No, that's the right decision.
Yeah.
And, like, stuff like that, making the right decision on everything leads to a lot more opportunities. You start treating people better. You start, being the type of person that is always doing the right thing. More opportunities find you. Yeah.
Also, too, one thing I want to add is, like, if you see, like, one of your buddies making that wrong decision, definitely, like, just check in with them. Don't be, like, what's it called? Like, judgmental when you do it or anything like that. Check in with them, see how they're doing, but also don't, like, press them and be like, you stupid mofo, like, you should be doing this. Like, try and be a friend. It's like that adage, like, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink kind of thing. It's like, it sucks, but sometimes you just have to kind of make them aware of it in a respectful way and, like, a loving way, and then leave them to their own device. They have to get themselves out of that hole.
Yeah.
You're not going to pull anyone out of that hole.
Yeah, I think they have to want to get out of that hole.
Exactly.
I think, knowing you as long as I have, like, through that whole thing, I was very thankful to have a homie I could call up.
Yeah.
And, like, talk about anything, dude.
Yeah.
Like, my roommate now, Sam, he was my old medic in my platoon. Love that dude. We get fucking hammered drunk and just talk about shit, dude.
Hell yeah.
Like,
it's huge.
Whatever we're fucking stressed about, dude, whatever's, like, got us anxious, whether it's work stuff, personal stuff, whatever, like, we just talk about it.
Yeah.
And, like, it helps, dude.
Yeah.
Like, knowing someone else, like, with anxiety and stuff, dude. Like, I used to live downtown Raleigh.
Right.
I had my own office space up in one of the high rises there, and I would walk from my apartment to that high rise.
Yeah.
And, like, one day, dude, I was just walking and, like, had a panic attack. I didn't know it was a fucking panic attack at the time, but just had a full blown, like, my heart started racing, started sweat, like, cold sweats, like, freaking out. And like the more I just turned around and went home and was like, I'm working from home today. Like, I don't know what's going on, dude. And I just went home and laid down. Yeah. Didn't know what the fuck it was.
Right.
Didn't know what was going on. Brought that up to Sam, my homie, and he, he's like, yeah, dude, I've had those before too. And like, the relief just from knowing that, like, okay, I'm not fucking dying. One, like, I'm not the only one that has faced this. And like, it is.
I'm not the only one going through it.
Yeah, and it almost normalizes it to where, like, normalizing it helps it not be an issue.
Yeah, I know. For me, when I got out, this kind of goes back to the college thing. My first day of community college, I had a panic. Like, my first class, I had a panic attack outside of class, and like, I get super fucking red too. Like, when I get like flustered. So I was like, fuck, now everyone knows, which just made it worse. Yeah. And I just felt so out of place. I was just in a weird spot, like, gotten out of the military. Like, around that time was when my mom got, like, diagnosed with cancer, and, like, I was trying to figure everything out. We, like, weren't sure if that was going to be, like, terminal or, like, what's going on with that and shit. But, yeah, I mean, I remember, too, like, for me, it was more of a slow burn and kind of came to a head, relatively recently. And I found it, like, incredibly helpful to be able to, like, call you and just kind of talk to you with what I was going through, because it was pretty similar in a lot of ways of like, I got out of a relationship, long-term relationship with a girl who I really liked. It was my decision, but I was still, like, bummed about it, and I was definitely not a great person in that relationship. I definitely could have been better. And then, like, when I was out, I was, like, again, being a fucking dumbass and doing some stupid stuff that I wasn't proud of. And I got to the point where I was just like, I had some financial stress because, like, I just left a really good paying job to, work here. And it's like, in the first few months, it sucks. So I was just like, I don't know what to fucking do. And, being able to call Charlie and talk to him and go through that was, like, super helpful. It's pretty much the reason why I moved back to Durham, was to be closer to, like, you and, all the Raleigh crew and my parents and stuff. But, One thing I will say that really helped me, because I'm a big on therapy, and I went to therapy, but in conjunction with therapy, I finally had, I started making some money, so I had enough money to pay for ketamine therapy. And for me, ketamine therapy was like, that period of anxiety that I was going through was like, I lost like 15 pounds, like, of just stressing myself the fuck out. It was so crazy. I've never gone through anything like that before. And I think it was just like everything hit, I was 29, turning 30, and I think just everything hit at the same time and just finally came to a head and burst. And so I was just like weirded the fuck out. But I did ketamine therapy, and, do your research into that. But for me, it was great because it just gave me, I remember thinking that before I did it, I was like, I just need some room to breathe. I feel like I can't breathe. I don't have any, like, I need a reset. Yeah. And for me, ketamine therapy was that reset, because, like, beforehand, like, I was like, dude, like,
I remember you calling me up, and I could see the exact thought process you were having with stuff.
Yeah.
Because you'd ask questions, and, like, dude, like, I know exactly where your brain was going.
Right.
And, like, yeah, it was amazing to see as your homie, like, the difference from before that to after. Now, I'm not one to, like, I don't mess with drugs or anything like that. Psychedelics, that stuff scares me to death. Like, I don't think I could go anywhere near ketamine, and, like, it might help me, but, like, just my own, like, thought with that stuff, like,
it's very chill. Just
but, like, that scares the death out of me. But for you, like, seeing the difference pre and post that was pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I used to think, like, I used to be like a misogynist and, like, think I, like, have, like, racist thoughts and stuff and be scared of heights, and, like, after ketamine, like, I'm not scared of heights anymore. I'm just kidding. That's a complete joke. That's a complete joke.
That got me, dude.
No, but dude, seriously, like, it was super helpful, and it was a reset for me. Like, someone described it to me. It has a very similar effect of, like, There's like ayahuasca and psilocybin and like therapeutically delivered, not just you're not just fucking tripping balls. But basically, it's like the way it was described to me is like think of your brain and like your in your patterns of thought as a snow-covered hill, and you go sledding down that hill. After a while, you go sledding down the same pattern of thought. You create like a divot in the snow, so your sled kind of goes in that same direction.
Yeah.
The psychedelic, whether it's psilocybin, ayahuasca, ketamine, is a fresh coat of snow, and you can choose. I could literally start choosing how to think about things, and I'd start. You don't like have no anxiety afterwards, but I'd be like, I'm starting to overthink this. This is like not something I want to do anymore. I was very kind to myself. That's another big thing I changed. I was like, I don't want to stress myself out, and so I started thinking differently. And granted, it doesn't just like fix you. I did a lot of work I was going to therapy, I was journaling, and it was super helpful. So
yeah, journaling is something cool too. Like
100%.
I just started journaling,
right?
And dude, it's I got one of those like cheesy guided journals on Amazon, dude. It's like a men's journal for guidance, but it's dope. It's got 3 goals for the day.
Nice.
3 things you're
grateful for,
and then like it gives you a prompt of like, where do you see yourself in 10 years, or what advice would 10-year, or what would like 10-year-old you want you to be doing right now, or like stuff like that like gets you thinking in different perspectives.
Yeah.
And, for me, that's been a game changer too.
Yeah.
And I think too, with all of that to be said, like you're gonna get out of the military, you're gonna face some struggles, and it's gonna suck.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no way around that. It's scary. Everything is changing. It's it's just a perfect scenario for you to go down a dark path. But if you put in that work and like take those resources, use all the resources you got, reach out to your homies, and know like there's other people going through it too, anybody can make it out. So
it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
But it gets better. Like that is something that is true, and that's life though. I mean, you're gonna have ups and downs and shit. It's just for whatever reason the military is just very you hear about that. Like I think honestly that's like one thing I did want to bring up is like you hear about like, oh, veterans 20 suicides a day or whatever. It's like I feel like you got to take some. I'm not demeaning people who kill themselves, especially veterans, but you do have to take some ownership of your mentality and not dwell on things and just be like, I'm going to fucking grit my teeth and just push through this shit. Yeah. That's the only way out that I know of, at least.
Yeah. I think that ties into a definition of freedom that I heard. So freedom, a definition I heard recently is that freedom is the ability to make whatever choices you want,
right?
Knowing that you can accept the consequences for whatever you do.
I like that. That's good.
So, and it's good because everyone thinks freedom means like you can do whatever you want and no punishment, but no, like there's consequences to every single action you make, and having total freedom is knowing, okay, I'm going to make these decisions that I want to, that I can accept the consequences for. And that in my life has changed. Like you start making decisions based off of that, of like, can I accept the consequences for making this decision? Yes. Great. No. Like, oh, that might suck. Let me make a better decision. You start changing your life completely. I swear, once you get on that right path and start making right decisions, stuff compounds, dude. Like me 2 years ago now, like the difference is night and day. Like way better in the workplace, way better relationship wise, way better health wise, like making better decisions. Like do I still fuck up? Yes, all the fucking time. But are my fuck ups the end of the world like they used to be? No. And I, built a good support system with good friends. Good, everybody that
I think that
for me too.
What you just said is so important. Take some time. Everyone's focusing, and anxiety is like fear of the future. Depression is like fear of the past. But take some time to like stop and evaluate. Don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to where you were.
Yeah. And I think that can be a wake-up call too, right? Like, when I got divorced, I had no debt.
Right.
No debt whatsoever.
Right.
2 years after, fuck ton of debt.
Yeah.
And that was part of the wake-up, was looking at where I was and realize how far I had gone down.
Mm-hmm.
And comparing, like, okay, I am not where I want to be. Something needs to change, and make that change. And now I can look back and be like, boom, I'm in way better place. Bought a house recently. Moving in the right direction.
Right.
And everything starts to compound on itself. Like, you make the right decision in making your bed in the morning. To go back to that. But, like, you make your bed in the morning. All right, now it's easier to, or now it's harder for me. I work from home. Now it's harder for me to go lay in my bed in the middle of the day and take a nap or something and not do work or whatever it may be. Or I make my bed now. Okay, next step. I'm big on routine. So, like, get up, journal, get up, make my bed, go to the gym, come back, eat breakfast. Like, it's one thing after another, and it starts by doing the first thing, and then I know it's the next thing, and then I know the next thing.
And how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
It sucks to say, but, like, the smallest shit, how you do anything is how you do everything. Yeah. But with that, let's get into the conspiracy.
All right.
What a great segue.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's two. The first one is, I believe this conspiracy straight up. It's basically that military conspiracy that when they say when you work through lunch, you can get off early, there was never any intention of letting you off early.
Ooh. I believe that one from personal experience.
Yeah.
But I do know I did stay in long enough to be in the situation where I told people that, and I did have full intention.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
So,
but
I mean,
it just keeps going up. Yeah.
I think the intentions of the person saying it are true, but the intentions of the person above them may not be.
Right.
So, that's a good one, though.
The best leaders were the ones who were like, just go to your room and, like, you're off at 6:30. Yeah. All right. Okay. The real conspiracy kind of is the theory that they put anti-boner pills in the chow hall in basic training.
Everyone is.
I never had a boner. I never.
Yeah. No. I mean, every basic training, like, anybody you talk to that in the military heard that in basic training.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
that, and the dude got fucked in the ass with peanut butter at AG.
Yeah. There's always
some weird fucking
some gay dudes in another company or
something. Yeah, it's always the next company over. Yeah.
But no, I think it's just the stress of the situation that gets you.
Yeah, you're so focused and tired, you don't got time for boners, dude. Until you go to, like, the fucking dental place and you see a hot, like, not even hot, she's like a 4, but, like, you're just like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah, you're down bad.
Yeah. Well, now they got women in infantry, which is like, that's such a, because I would talk to my buddies who went to co-ed basic training.
Yeah.
I was like, what was that like? They're like, dude, people bang in the laundry room and shit at night. I'm like,
crazy.
How do you like think? I don't know. I was just so focused on
not getting yelled at,
being a fucking army of one. Yeah.
Fucking war hero.
Yeah. But
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you found this mental health thing. We'll try and find some mental health resources and push that out on, like, social media.
Yeah.
And maybe in, like, the description of this YouTube video.
Yeah, I mean, this is our stories too. Like, if you're going
experiences vary.
Yeah. If you're going through something, though, just know, like, it does get better.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It does. So.
That is, like, a unanimous thing I've always heard people say. Is like, it gets better. Don't think about the people who are around you. There are people who love you and would be heartbroken if you took your own life. So, don't do it.
Reach out to your homies. If you're doing well right now, check in on your buddies. Because I know Griffin reaching out to me made a hell of a difference and a lot of times in my life. So,
yeah.
Reach out to your homies. remember, it will pass. I promise. Even when you're feeling anxious, it will pass. So
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Next week. Sweet.